Hey folks, I'm Vasel here.
Jason Levine.
We are always excited when we can talk about a new Dice Masters set. Today is World's Finest. This is from DC Universe.
Yes.
What number set is this for DC?
Set number 3.
Okay, the first set was
Justice League.
Justice League. Second set was the War of the Rings.
War of Light.
War of Light, which
Yes.
well, it was War of the
Light.
Rings.
Yes, because there's all the Green Lantern rings, or the multiple color lantern rings.
Now, if you like Batman and if you like Superman, this is the set for you. If you do not like those two characters, you might want to skip this set because this pretty much that's what this set is.
This is Batman versus Superman. This is,
Do you think so? I don't think they're fighting each other in this one.
well, there were some Batman cards that fought Superman. This is
That's true,
basically
that's true.
This is basically coming out right at the perfect time because the movie comes out in a few weeks too.
It's interesting. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the cards, some of the things in the set, then we'll come back and give you our final opinions. I'm not going to show you every card in the game, but we'll give you kind of a smattering so you can see what's here. We have some of the basic action cards here. This lets you field someone for free, or you can field as many Superman characters for free. Here, this is the first Superman or Batman die you purchase this turn, cost 1 less, which isn't really that big of a deal. It's more about the global ability where you can give any character Batman or Superman for the rest of the turn. Here you can do 1 damage to anyone. If you have a Batman character, you can do 2 damage. Here's a continuous effect where you can put this out and it prevents 2 damage to a target character die and moves this die to your use pile. If you have an active Superman character, you also get a life. So basically this stays out until you use it. Very similar to the cards, the things in Warriors. Here sidekicks are +2/+2. But if they don't attack, you KO them. So it's interesting, this one you can use on your opponent's sidekicks to make them attack, or you can use them on your own just to beef them up. This basically just target non-sidekick character gets +3 to the end of the turn. Here, when one of your characters KO'd, you KO a target opposing non-Batman die. Here you can KO someone who's attack of 5 or greater. Your opponent have some big massive thing, this will KO them. A kryptonite threat, someone can't block, and also hopefully let you draw a die. I think that's the much cooler aspect of it. And then this one, which I believe is the most expensive basic action card, End of Days, where you kill everybody but one. The game, of course, comes with some of your blank people, Nightwing, Crypto, Catwoman. Lois Lane here is blank, except she's an ally. In this game, allies are essentially sidekicks, except they're not affected by some of the cards that have to do with sidekicks. It basically, it's dependent on where they are. If they're in the field zone, they're a sidekick. But in the bag, the prep area, use pile, and anywhere else. So if a card might let you pull sidekick dice from a bag, it's not going to let you do allies. But if there's a card that gives a bonus to allies in the field, or to sidekicks in the field, then it works on an ally. Here's another Lois Lane ally, which gives +1 to all other Superman characters. Here's another ally, Pennyworth, which gives a Batman die or another sidekick die +2. Another ally. Here's Lois Lane. This time when she's active, all other Superman characters gain Iron Will. So what is Iron Will? Because there's a lot of characters who have Iron Will. This means you can't KO that character unless they were previously damaged on the same turn. You also know Superman here has Overcrush, which allows him to, if you attack someone and kill them or KO them, the damage above and beyond what it takes to KO that person is dealt to your opponent. There's also Fast. This you damage first before your opponent does. There's more Iron Wills. There's one for Superman. Here's one for Supergirl. Here's another Supergirl Iron Will. Also, this Supergirl dice can't be targeted by action dice, which makes this one pretty powerful because you need to do some damage to her, but you can't target her with action dice. Pretty powerful die here. Then we also have Vengeance. Vengeance happens when you take damage. So here, like for example, when you take damage, all your Commissioner Gordon Batman dice go up 1 level. Here for this Vengeance, when you take damage, you search your bag for a Batman die and add it to the prep area. On this Batman, when you take damage, you spin each of your Batman dice up 1 level and do 1 damage to a sidekick. Here, when you take damage, you do 4 damage to a target villain or a Superman character die. So Batman can either beat up on a villain or on Superman. There's also a lot of cards that have to do with the action dice. So, for example, here, Oracle, when she's active, your opponents have to pay basically 1 energy anytime they use an action die. The Riddler here, your opponent, when they use an action die, you deal your opponent a damage. General Zod here, when you use a basic non-action die, he replaces this ability with a target character's card text until end of turn, which is really interesting. Scarecrow, when you field it, take control of all opposing sidekicks. So there's a lot of cards here that have to do with sidekicks, so he can control sidekicks for 1 turn. The Riddler here does damage to all sidekicks equal to his attack. Falcone, when he's active, sidekicks deal no combat damage. Batgirl can't be blocked by sidekicks or villains for that matter. Catwoman can't be blocked by sidekicks. So I guess Batgirl is better than Catwoman? Well, go figure. Then we have Wonder Woman. When she's active, your opponent's global abilities that deal no damage to you or your character dice. So in this set, there's a lot of things that have to do with global abilities. When Steel's there, his dice can't be the target of global abilities. Your opponent can't use global abilities in your cards without paying an extra 1 or a life. Here, Oracle makes them pay 1 each time they use a global ability. Bizarro is all about global abilities. He can't be blocked by characters with global abilities. Here, when he's fielded, he does 2 damage to each character die that has a global ability on its card to each person. The game also comes with Kryptonite. Yeah, Kryptonite. Here you play Kryptonite on someone, and you can ignore the text on their card. And Superman dice can't block. Here, you can make them go to target level 1, and you can KO a Superman die. Here, the dice get -2 until the end of the turn. Also, Superman's attack becomes 0 until the end of the turn. So Kryptonite hurts everyone, but it hurts, obviously, Superman dice the most. The other item in this set is the Batcave, which also here has a continuous effect. Ultraman, this is one of my favorite cards in the game. When he's active, when there's a Kryptonite action die, he can basically kill all Superman dice and do damage to your opponent. So with a Kryptonite combo, he is very deadly. Crypto gets +1 attack, +1 defense for each active Superman person in your thing. Kal-El here, one of the most powerful characters in this game, who trained by Superboy apparently. Can't be blocked by Superman characters, or can only be blocked by Superman characters. Power Girl cards do well when she's with Superman character. Bane can bring more dice out on the board. The Joker here, when he attacks, you can draw a die, and here's a chance to get a sidekick out. This one here, you draw a die. If it's a villain die, you'll do 2 damage to your opponent. Mr. Freeze, his cards basically let you freeze your opponent. This one makes you pick a die that they skip. Harvey Bullock, when he's active, you basically, he lets you roll dice. It's kind of like gambling to some degree. Poison Ivy, they don't give her a special ability here, but essentially when she damages someone, she KOs them. It's kind of like Poison from Magic the Gathering. Mixoplix, however you pronounce his name. Here he changes everybody to 1 attack and 1 defense when he first shows up. Catwoman, you can KO a target opposing die with a purchase cost of 3 or less, but your opponent can pay 2 to prevent that. Robin, of course, is helpful if you have Batman, or Robin's even better if you have Batman. Evil Superwoman Lois Lane here has a cheaper cost. She costs 5 energy, 5 with 1 energy, or you can just pay 3 straight energy for her. Scarecrow here, you can take control of an opposing character die. Then the game comes with Clark Kent. Yay! Now Clark Kent basically can let you field a Superman die, or search your bag for a Superman die, or pay 4 life to purchase a Superman die. So, you know, they have the whole thing going where Clark Kent turns into Superman. And not to be outdone, you have Bruce Wayne, who can be basically turned into Batman. He's not the only Batman. There's Dick Grayson acting as Batman. Here's another regular Batman. And then there's Harley Quinn. Of course, everyone's going to want her with the new movie coming out. And we got Lex Luthor. And here's my favorite powerful card in the game, Kal-El, where you basically can pay a shield to have him do his combat damage to every character, not just one. There's also the ultra rares. I have 2 of them. 2 come in each box usually. I got an upscale version of Batgirl, and then there's 4 of the Black Lanterns. This was from the last set, the War of the Light. So there's 4 more of these that come out in the set. These are the 2 that I got. So those are some of the cards in the game. Okay, let me talk about a few of the things in the set here. The Allies. Now, Allies have been in the game before, although I don't know if... I think they were in the DC Universe too, right?
I don't remember Allies.
They're definitely, well, they've definitely been in the Marvel one, because I know Mary Jane Parker and that were Allies.
No, they were considered sidekicks, but the actual word ally is a new word.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, that's a new term. The ally term is a new term.
Maybe they just did that to save trouble because some of the sidekick stuff was too powerful when used with them.
Yes, because they affected sidekicks, but this one they actually are sidekick dice, or they're treated like sidekick dice.
There's also some continuous effects. I think that's new.
The continuous was cool. The continuous, so you could have like the Batcave was out and you could store things under the Batcave and then eventually use the Batcave and bring things out. I thought that was continuous was very cool.
Fast is new for this set, although
Hawkeye had it at the very beginning.
Once again, they are adding stuff from Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Fast is what was Fast in that. I think it was Fast in Magic the Gathering too? Or?
I forget what it was called. The one where you get to attack first.
Then we have
Vengeance.
Iron Will. Iron Will is a completely new one, okay? And Iron Will is tough because you have to damage him. Now, there's a lot of special abilities and things where you can ping somebody with a damage.
Yes.
But if you don't do that, you ain't going to touch these guys.
Yeah, Superman's really strong, so you have to first pluck him with something, and then you have to kill him in order to actually kill Superman.
Or use the kryptonite that cancels a special ability.
Yes.
And I like that kryptonite does that. In fact, you're going to see, I'm telling you this now, you're going to see kryptonite being used in tournament decks probably in games that don't even include DC.
I agree.
You're going to see people use, oh, you have Professor X? Kryptonite.
I cancel it. I kryptonite your Professor X. Exactly. Kryptonite is a great, cool new card.
Overcrush, which I think has shown up. It's definitely shown up in D&D.
It was in the D&D
I think
set.
it showed up in Marvel too, in a few characters. I think a few of them had it, but I've always liked that card. And then I think, Vengeance.
Vengeance is cool.
Basically, you take damage and you do something back. I always say this with these different sets. Some of the sets are for new people into the game, and some of the sets are like the last set, for example, the War of Light. That was definitely a set for veterans.
Yes.
It was definitely a very inbred set. You wanted to play with just that set. This is a set that you could buy for people new to the game.
Yes. And Batman's cool. Like, we're just talking about Vengeance. Batman, half of the cards are Vengeance cards, so if something happens, Commissioner Gordon puts up the bat symbol and Batman comes into play immediately. And you were able to put dice into play immediately without having to roll them or anything. They just come into the field and into play, and I thought that was really cool what it did. It really felt like, here's Commissioner Gordon fighting the little guy. He's like, we're in trouble, let's put out the bat signal, and then out comes Batman.
Yeah, well, they had that for both. Clark Kent turning into Superman. And Bruce Wayne turning into Batman.
I thought that was great theming, and it really felt like you're in the comics in this one. I really like the theming.
And you also really, if you're like, I don't know what to make, okay, well then put a bunch of Batman people together.
Yep.
Put a bunch of Superman people together. Put a bunch of Batman villains together. A bunch of Superman. You really have 4 kind of teams in this box.
Yes.
There's almost nobody other than those ultra rare Black Ring people. Other than them, it's pretty much Batman against his villains with all his sidekicks.
Yes.
And Superman versus same, or Batman versus Superman or whatever. So,
yeah, you get Wonder Woman thrown in.
Oh yeah, well,
that's because, again, Dawn of Justice coming out, so Wonder Woman had to be in there to make her cameo.
Okay, now there's one thing I don't like about this set. I'm not a big fan of the action cards. They're not bad action cards, I guess. Most of them, though, are like helpful to Batman and Superman, or they're just not that exciting. Now, there's one that costs 6. I think this is the first one that costs 6.
I love that 6 action card.
Yeah, but how often would you take it? See, the only reason to take the 6 is if you built like around Superman or one of the big General Zod or something like that. You bring him out, blow everyone else away.
Yes.
Now I will crush you.
Yes, which I think is cool. Actually, I think on the 6 card it says KO everyone but one. So if you have a bunch of Iron Will people, you could actually keep them and play with that. I think. I don't know.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't think about that.
But it's cool because it nukes everything except for one die on each side.
Yeah, they got some really interesting things here. There's a lot of cards that deal with global abilities, and actually the stats,
Yes.
I like that because my favorite character in this set is probably Bizarro because he's so opposed to people with global abilities. They also have a lot of tricky thing. You know, there's always sidekick stuff in every deck, right? Always a sidekick.
Bizarro worked
Okay.
perfectly, I think. Tom was one of the bad guys, and Bizarro had this power where he basically does damage with Overcrush based on how many global abilities. And I had all these global abilities, all these Superman global abilities, and it kind of balances out because Bizarro could then come in and crush everything.
Right, and then there's also Mixoplex who can mess everything up. So it's an interesting set.
Yes, very interesting set.
Where would you place is like, I don't know that this is my favorite set. I would say it's my favorite DC set so
It's
far.
my favorite DC set too. I really liked it as a DC set. And it's my two favorite DC characters. I mean, I think it's everyone's two favorite DC
That's
characters.
true, and I'm seriously going to make a deck that's all side people. Like I'm going to have Alfred and Mary Jane Parker and Lois Lane and be like, bystanders. Bring on Superman. All right, so anyway, that's what I think. What's your awesomeness rating?
On this one, it's an awesomeness rating of 9.
Woo! I'll give it an 8 myself, but that's still pretty good. That's World Finest Dice Masters.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.